All right, we're going to start going into some of the protest news and kind of what's been happening. Attorney for Kenosha teenager Kyle Rittenhouse releases new footage showing a BLM protester fire a gun before his client, claiming it proves self-defense. So yeah, we got 11 minutes of released footage in a slickly produced 11-minute video released by Woods Fight Back Foundation. The defense team argues that other shots were fired before and after the first fatal shooting, which killed 36-year-old Joseph Rosenbaum. So yeah, it seems pretty detailed. You see him being chased. You see him at one point, trying to put out fires, running around with a fire extinguisher. You see him at one point trying to give aid to people. Like, he's even giving his gun to someone, just be like, hold this, I need to give aid. Be like, obviously someone he probably trusted to give it to, hopefully. But, obviously it was okay. But then he got, there was apparently an altercation at the gas station. There was a dumpster fire. They were trying to roll a dumpster fire into a gas station. They could have tried to blow it up. There could have been, dozens killed at that point. So that got stopped, and then an altercation happened, which a guy that doesn't really look like Kyle Rittenhouse, but was wearing the same colored t-shirt, it had a different colored hat. But, I guess the guns kind of looked a little similar. If, you were probably, at a distance, they probably would have looked similar. So this guy one of the activists, one of the protesters, that was starting fires, and he was in an altercation, at the gas station with the guy in the green shirt, probably thought Kyle Rittenhouse was the same guy, started chasing after him, and then led to one shooting. And then you see Kyle Rittenhouse, it almost kind of looks like it flees. So you see one angle where a lot of people are then running away, and then Kyle was still kind of running in the direction where those protesters were then, running away. Then he kind of backtracked around to where he shot the guy, and then made the call to police saying he shot him and he didn't want to shoot him, and then ran away when he saw a bunch of people started coming up. He didn't want to probably, then be attacked by them. While he's running away, people say, hey, he's the one who shot, and then people started chasing him and then started being attacked, which led to more shooting. And then Rittenhouse runs to the police, tries to get their attention. And they're just like, you need to get out of the area now. Just run, just get out of the area. That's all it is. And then he turned himself in the next day. So Rittenhouse pretty much did what he could. That's pretty much it. It's another clear-cut self-defense. We can't have another Jake Gardner situation, because that's horrific. That should not have happened. That was clear-cut self-defense as well, and these protests are getting out of hand more and more, especially as they're gaining more legal ground to do whatever they seem to want to whoever they want, whoever they deem deserves it. So yeah, the video is pretty much banned. I have to sign in, but you'd have to it won't show up. You can't really share it or anything. You need the direct link in order to see it. So you guys would have to try to find it on your own. We've also then got Facebook is sued over the Kenosha killings over, Kyle Rittenhouse killed 2 Black Lives Matter protesters and wounded a third in late August in Kenosha, Wisconsin. He instantly became a hero among white nationalist circles, in which the Second Amendment is sacrosanct. On Wednesday, Rittenhouse and the members of the armed militias that supported him, including the Kenosha Guard and Boogaloo Boys, were named in a federal lawsuit brought under the post-Civil War Reconstruction Amendment that aimed to establish black equality. The suit also names what it alleges was the militias group's most prominent enabler, Facebook. All of the parties, the complaint contends, helped deprive Kenosha Black Lives Matter protesters of their First Amendment right to assemble, thus violating the Black Lives Matter activists' 14th Amendment right to equal protection. You guys were starting fires. You guys were being violent in the first place. And then when it seems to be clear that Kyle Rittenhouse was fired upon first, maybe someone shouldn't have also grabbed his gun. Maybe people shouldn't have kept chasing after him. Maybe people shouldn't have attacked him with a skateboard. Maybe people shouldn't be trying to drop kick him. But don't blame yourselves. Never, ever blame yourselves for your own fallacies. No. Go after the 17-year-old kid. Do that, yeah. Go after him. When all he wanted to do was help his community. When he wanted to defend his community. Just to help people. Just to heal people. He had a med kit to help people. You guys are just sick. We also got, from the Post Millennial, breaking new video reveals the truth about Kyle Rittenhouse's fateful night in Kenosha. So yeah, we pretty much got almost all you can see a lot. Let's just say that. We can't see exactly everything that happens. It's a little fuzzy at times. But you can clearly see that Kyle Rittenhouse was fired upon first. Before he got fired upon, then turned around, and then someone tried to grab his gun, which led to more shooting. From Politico, Trump administration proposes bill to chip away at online industry's legal protections. Yeah, so it's Section 230. I'm sure, that's kind of one of the hot contenders. The legislation submitted by the DOJ to Congress on Wednesday targets a portion of federal law known as Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which protects a broad swath of online businesses from liability for hosting user material and taking steps to curb noxious material on their sites. Yeah, it's kind of more of just, the good faith efforts. It's basically saying, we have good faith that these, places like YouTube and Twitter and all these places aren't just going to ban certain groups and all that, and they're going to have the good faith. And they don't really seem to. And they've been lying to Congress every single time they show up, and or the Senate or whatever. Anytime they show up, they lie straight to everybody's faces. So this would make them more liable. People then can start suing them, if certain things aren't, taken care of, I think they have it against it in a certain sense. The legal shield enacted in 1996 has come under attack from officials across the political aisle amid scrutiny of how social media platforms, including Facebook and Twitter, moderate content on their platforms. President Donald Trump escalated his attacks on the statute after Twitter began placing fact-checking labels on his tweets this spring, reviving long-standing GOP allegations of an anti-conservative bias by Silicon Valley firms. I mean, it was happening way before that. They were already under scrutiny for banning conservatives. So this was already long overdue. I mean, them now putting checking labels on Trump's tweets was just probably the final nail in the coffin. Under Section 230, internet companies are protected from lawsuits for making good faith efforts to take down or restrict a wide range of illicit or otherwise objectionable material. But under the new DOJ proposal, the scope of those protections would be narrowed to exclude material that is merely objectionable, but expanded to include content that promotes terrorism, violent extremism, or self-harm, and it would require companies to notify users. That could open internet companies up to lawsuits for removing content that is inflammatory or otherwise harmful, such as election misinformation or hate speech, but does not fall under the categories outlined under the revamped proposal. For too long, Section 230 has provided a shield for online platforms to operate with impunity, Attorney General William Barr said in a statement, and I agree with that. They'll ban you if you don't quite agree with their narrative or whatever. Who knows? Before I even probably get started, I'm sure YouTube will probably start shadow banning me just because I will call them out. Or they'll promote me. Maybe because I'm calling out, maybe they'll promote me, YouTube. Who knows? Doubt it. We've also got next, police. One Portland rioter shoots another. Nobody died, but 2 participants in a riot in Portland, Oregon, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning were involved in an altercation that led to a shooting, according to the Portland Police Bureau. So yeah, they're starting to shoot each other now. These riots are so out of hand that they're now fighting each other. They're gonna start going into people's neighborhoods and start fighting each other and the neighbors. It's gonna be mayhem. Cause they have no coordination. There's very loose organization in order to promote some form of violence, in order to incite rioting in some form. And then Once it starts getting out of hand, those organizers start backing away and then be like, hey, it's all them. It's all them. They're the ones, you know, have all the things, even though we probably secretly gave it to them. That's what they do. That's just what they do. Up next from Reuters, Kentucky to unveil results of Breonna Taylor shooting, death probe local report. And this article is just, it's so brief that we also got from Fox News, Breonna Taylor shooting, fire Louisville officer indicted on criminal charges, but not her death. One of 3 officers involved in the Louisville, Kentucky drug operation that led to the police shooting death of Breonna Taylor in March 2020 was indicted Wednesday on criminal charges. Officer Brett Hankison, whom the department fired earlier this year, was indicted on 3 counts of wanton endangerment in the first degree, a Jefferson County grand jury announced Wednesday. Neither the grand jury nor the presiding judge elaborated on the charges. A warrant has been issued for Hankison's arrest, and a bond is set at $15,000 cash. No charges were immediately announced against the 2 other officers involved in the raid, Miles Cosgrove and Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly, who was shot in the leg and underwent surgery after the police operation that resulted in Taylor's death. We've also got that they pretty much blocked off the whole area. There's no parking, like in anywhere, like parking lots, parking structures. There's no parking. Essentially, they were ready for something to happen because they know it was going to be not super harsh. And people are saying it. Linda Sarsour, justice has not been served. Rise up all across this country, everywhere. Rise up for Breonna Taylor. So you trying to call for violence now, Linda Sarsour? Is that what's happening? Come on. Might not be a direct action, but it's starting to get close with these people, and it's getting scary. It's getting scary, people. That's all it is. They're coming for the neighborhoods, and then they're just going to fight with each other, even. If they can't find anyone to fight with, they'll fight with each other. And then there's going to be casualties, innocent casualties, that don't want any part of this. All right, well, that's kind of the stuff on protesting and everything that happened last night and the stuff that's happening today, you know, with Kyle Rittenhouse and the video that came out. So, you guys have a good day. I'll see you in the next video.